Floyd, you made 230, and I get it, Skip. I can just imagine getting a check for $230 million. Like, hold on. I ain't see I, R, or S in that ring taking no blows. And I'm supposed to send them, yep, you're supposed to send them their cut. That's the way it works. And what's so disappointing with me, Skip, Floyd Mayweather has gone through this before. What is it that you don't get? And I'm even more disappointed because you're on Instagram and on Twitter flaunting your
Is Mayweather broke?
Shannon Sharpe has consistently been one of the loudest voices calling out Floyd Mayweather's financial habits and the contradictions in his public image. Floyd's whole brand is built on wealth as Money Mayweather, and he flaunts his extravagant lifestyle with posts of endless stacks of cash, expensive cars, watches, private jets, and lavish homes. But recently Shannon has challenged Mayweather by questioning where his money goes, and that is if he has any left. The questions Shannon asked were straightforward, and they were: if you are truly wealthy, why do you need to show it off all the time, and why do you lie about buying stuff you just cannot afford?
What do you make of it?
No, I don't like it. Skip, the man has made over $500 million.
$500 million?
In his last 3 fights. You're 50-0. You said you want to retire at 50-0. You said this was the last. Skip, I watched him be talking to Stephen A. Says, I'm done. I ain't coming back for no amount of money. I'm done. Come on, man. Come on, Floyd. This should be beneath you.
If you have got the kind of money Floyd says he has, you do not need to flex constantly, because true wealth does not need constant validation, as it is quiet, steady, and secure. But Shannon Sharpe has quickly pointed out that Floyd's flashy displays do not align with reality, and that Floyd Mayweather's wealth might be more about the image he has created than the financial foundation behind it. One of the main issues Shannon has with Mayweather is the constant contradictions, because Mayweather presents himself as financially unbreakable, always throwing around numbers in the hundreds of millions and constantly showing off his cash. But then there is the reality, with reports that Floyd owes the IRS millions in taxes, and reports that Floyd is in debt, and even recently being held in a country for having betting debts. And these are not rumors, as this is a real documented issue with talks around it.
Yeah. That's what you think. It's get the money, spend the money. All that money. Yeah, it's been 2 years.
So is it just his overhead is so high on a day-to-day, month-to-month? Like
I don't even want to talk about it. Like with the lifestyle, that money's gone. Trust me. Now it's like you call him, he'll be at your local hosting in a nightclub, because you need that action right now.
Floyd reportedly owes back taxes, and on top of that he has even publicly requested extensions to delay payments, and that is a big problem for someone who claims to have an endless money supply. But it is not about debt, because every wealthy person has debt at some point, and it is the hypocrisy of it all, because if you are posting pictures of yourself sitting on piles of money talking about how much you are worth, then why is the IRS knocking at your door? And that is where Shannon Sharpe calls out the falsehoods, because if you are truly that wealthy, paying taxes on time should not be an issue, as it is a lack of responsibility, and it is one of the most significant contradictions in Floyd's financial narrative.
Filed a lawsuit against you in Miami, and then you're saying you're gonna have to sell off your assets. I hate seeing this happen, bro. As I've always said, it's hard to make money, but it's even harder to keep it.
But it is not just the tax issues that make Shannon speak out, because Floyd has made his name off his money, claiming to have made hundreds of millions over the years. But Shannon sees the desperation behind the stunts, and Floyd's exhibition fights, for instance, have been a major point of contention, as these are fights against lesser opponents, even social media stars, where the primary goal seems to be filling up the bank account rather than maintaining a fighting legacy. And it is not about proving yourself in the ring anymore, and it is about securing another payday, and that to Shannon is a red flag, because if you are financially secure, why must you keep fighting, especially against opponents who do not pose a real challenge?
You're just a guy with a job. I have a job, though. So who would you fight next?
And guess what? Your job don't pay like my job.
Well, it depends.
Your job don't pay like my job.
That brings me to another point. Why are you coming back?
I can make $200 million in 18 months because I want to. Because I want to come back and steal some more money. Is that okay with you?
It's fine.
Okay,
I enjoy watching your fights.
Okay.
Floyd has been in the game long enough to know when to walk away, but he keeps fighting because he needs the money, and he needs to keep the image alive and prove to the world that he is on top. And it is not about the fight, and it is about the attention. And Shannon has repeatedly called this out, saying that Floyd's behavior contradicts everything a true wealth builder does, because real wealth does not need validation, and it does not need to be put on display. 24/7, and real wealth does not have to rely on public recognition, and Floyd has constantly put himself in situations where the money is fleeting and where the legacy is not growing, and instead of using his platform to show how to build lasting wealth, he has been more interested in creating an image of a man who has everything when in reality it is unclear how long that everything will last.
A light million. Over there, counting up another million over there. Walk with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take you into my life. So Andrew Jackson, of course, is on the 20.
Floyd's actions do not just annoy Shannon, they also frustrate others in the boxing world, including people who have been around the sport and seen the big money come and go and understand what it means to truly secure your financial future. And Eddie Hearn also pointed out that Floyd's financial situation does not add up, and he said that Floyd might not be as wealthy as he claims, and Hearn has seen the numbers behind the sport and he knows the real business. So when he says Floyd is exaggerating his wealth, that hits differently, and Hearn is not the only one, because Joe Rogan, another high-profile personality, weighed in on Floyd's financial habits too, and Rogan highlighted how Mayweather's need to keep fighting exhibition matches for big paydays does not seem like the behavior of a man who is truly financially secure. And Floyd talks big about having all this money, but then he is doing fights that do not hold any real value just for cash. And if he really had the kind of money he claims, why would he keep doing this, and why take the risk?
But I don't even think he don't need any money.
He spends so much money.
Yeah, but he don't need any. Floyd,
are you sure?
Yeah, Floyd good.
I bet if he's planning for the future, you got to keep it coming in if you're going to keep spending the way he spends.
Yeah, but I think he has a lot of other business interests that he can get money from.
Hopefully.
And not just boxing.
Then there is Mike Tyson, who also had some things to say about Floyd's approach to wealth, and Tyson, a man who has seen the highs and lows of financial success, offered his opinion on Floyd's lavish lifestyle, and he mentioned that Floyd should be enjoying his life and not focusing so much on proving how much money he has made. But for Shannon, Tyson's take does not hold up, because it is not just about enjoying the wealth, and it is about how you manage it. And Tyson might say Floyd should enjoy the show, but Shannon sees a man who is far too obsessed with keeping up appearances rather than securing his long-term future. And for Tyson, the only problem he sees is how Floyd calls himself the greatest.
He's fighting like what, 8 times a year?
Yeah, it's more to it than
whoever
that.
fought him. Whoever's in the ranking.
Well, I think it's all subjective.
Picking whoever you are, come on.
I think they're more.
Floyd is out here living large, but Shannon's point is that it is all smoke and mirrors, and he is not living like someone who is truly set for life. And what really triggered some of the latest backlash was Floyd's recent claim about purchasing luxury apartments in Manhattan, and Floyd posted on social media proudly claiming that he had just bought multiple apartments in one of the most expensive places in the world, Manhattan, and that these properties were now under his name. But as it turns out, this claim was later proven to be false, and Floyd did not actually own the apartments, and it seemed like just another attempt to maintain his image as a real estate mogul, even though the facts did not back him up.
And on a point like this, because all of them, we're in New York City right now, we're in Manhattan. That's what we do.
This only added to the growing criticism that Floyd is more interested in pretending to be rich than actually making smart financial moves. And for Shannon Sharpe, this kind of stunt is exactly what he has been talking about all along, and it is not about the wealth, and it is about the performance. And Floyd is selling an illusion where he is always on top and always in control, but the reality does not match up with the story he is telling the world.
And in fraud, and when you look into his paperwork, everybody say the paperwork's still into the person's name who owned it. So he going around fraud and taking false.
The problem is that Floyd's public image depends so much on this narrative, and he wants everyone to see him as this untouchable figure, someone who has made it and someone who is always in the winner's circle. But the more that is revealed about his financial struggles, his questionable claims, and his need for constant validation, the more it looks like Floyd's wealth is built on a house of cards, and the moment the facade starts to crack, it becomes harder and harder to ignore. And Floyd may want to be seen as the ultimate success story, but the cracks are showing. And whether it is the tax problems, the questionable exhibition matches, or the lies about luxury apartments, the image of Floyd Mayweather as the king of money is not as secure as he wants everyone to believe.
People are always in my fucking business, worried about what I'm doing, what Floyd is doing, what Floyd ain't doing, what I do got, what I don't got.
Shannon Sharpe does not hold back because he is jealous or trying to tear someone down, and he calls it like he sees it, and he sees Floyd Mayweather as a man who has wasted an opportunity because he could have been the perfect example of how to turn boxing success into lasting financial freedom, and he could have used his platform to show others how to build wealth and invest wisely and create something that lasts, but instead he is stuck in a cycle of flashy moments and short-term gains, and Floyd had the potential to build a legacy beyond boxing, but he has built a brand around wealth that is looking more and more hollow with each passing day, and that is where Shannon Sharpe sees the real tragedy, not because Floyd is not rich, but because he could have done so much more with his success than just throwing it all around for the cameras.
Random people in random places. Yeah. For 5 million here, 10 million there.
No, he's just a big spender. You can't spend like that, you know? Like,
this guy has a lot of chains.
So many chains, bro. Chains? That's a depreciating asset.
The criticisms around Floyd Mayweather's financial life have been piling up lately, loud and clear and coming from unexpected corners, and Stephen A. Smith, a longtime admirer of Mayweather, did not hold back when he went live on his ESPN show and delivered a statement that shook the very foundation of the Mayweather myth, and he said, "I am deeply disappointed in one of my all-time favorite fighters, my brother Floyd Mayweather," and it was not a hot take for the sake of headlines, and this came from a place of concern, a sobering disappointment laced with genuine confusion, and he asked, is his daily and monthly overhead so high that the money is just gone? And Stephen A. asked this rhetorically, and then came the dagger, and he said, trust me, it is gone, and now if you call him, he will be hosting at your local nightclub because he needs that action right now. And it was a stunning moment, and Stephen A. was not speaking as a hater or a critic, and he was speaking as someone who has watched Floyd climb to the top of the world, only to now question whether he is falling without realizing it, and that is not hate, and that is heartbreak.
Which is why I sit here with sadness today to report to you that I'm incredibly disappointed in one of my all-time favorite fighters, my brother, Floyd Money Mayweather.
Adding to the controversy, Mayweather's extravagant lifestyle continues to draw attention, and during the 2024 Super Bowl weekend in Las Vegas, he reportedly spent over $1 million on a luxury suite at the Allegiant Stadium and made significant purchases, including a substantial bet on the game. And while such displays of wealth are consistent with his public persona, they also raise questions about his financial priorities and the sustainability of his spending habits, and these criticisms from various individuals in the sports industry highlight a pattern of skepticism regarding Mayweather's financial claims, and while he continues to project an image of success and wealth, the lack of clear evidence in the presence of disputes suggests that his financial narrative may not be as solid as presented.
For you in countless interviews, including Shannon Sharpe's podcast last week, but you have to stop embarrassing yourself with these exhibitions. I know life is hard, I know life is expensive, but come on, dude, put your legacy first. Nobody wants to remember you like this. And it gets worse, your jeweler filed a lawsuit against you in Miami. And many are saying you're gonna have to sell off your assets.
Floyd Mayweather's legacy as one of the greatest fighters of this generation is under more scrutiny than ever, not just because of the caliber of opponents he faced or avoided, but because the man is slowly becoming a symbol of what happens when ego, unchecked spending, and legal distractions start to eat away at more than just your bank account. And it is not just about dollars anymore, and it is about value, relevance, authenticity, and legacy, and that is what Mayweather is quietly losing in real time, even if the headlines still chase his name.
Money made all day. You know, right here, a light million. Over there, counting up another million over there. Walk with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take you into my life. So Andrew Jackson, of course.
James Toney, a guy with more grit in his pinky finger than some modern fighters have in their whole bodies, said it plainly, and he said Floyd is not the greatest, not even close, and it was not shade, and it was perspective, and Toney knows what it is like to fight in a blood and guts era where champions did not cherry-pick names for resume polish, but went through fire against legends in their primes, and he did not see Floyd doing that, and instead he saw someone who played the timing game, who waited out the dangerous names who capitalized on calculated risks and marketing over pure danger, and Julio Cesar Chavez, a monster in his prime, was conveniently missed, and Shane Mosley, Oscar de la Hoya, and Cotto, all of them fought Floyd past their primes, and Floyd built a perfect record but protected it like a Fabergé egg.
I mean, I went down to see your mate Conor McGregor fight Floyd Mayweather, and it was a fascinating thing to watch. I never actually thought he could beat Floyd Mayweather, but
He did great.
But for a few rounds, he went toe-to-toe with him, and it was really interesting to watch.
He did really
and it was a massive.
And when guys like Tony call that out, it hits a nerve, because it is not jealousy, and Tony's legacy does not need Mayweather's approval, and he fought killers and beat them, and it is not hate, and it is boxing IQ calling out the BS on the smoke and mirrors era that Floyd helped craft, and the same era that is now producing TikTok fights, YouTuber spectacles, and pay-per-view jokes. And the issue now is not just about what Floyd did not do back then, and it is about what he is still doing now and why. And the constant flow of exhibition fights, the cringe-worthy stage pressers, and the wild rumors like a fight with Rio Ferdinand, and the whole thing reeks of desperation wrapped in designer clothes. And these fights are supposedly just fun for Floyd, a man who claims he is choosing to fight and not needing to. But how many times does a man need to say he is rich before people start wondering if he is just covering something up?
Some may make 10 or 20 million, but I'm doing exhibitions and I'm making 20, 25 million, 100 million for exhibitions. So why would I come back and fight and get a guaranteed 35 million when I'm doing exhibitions?
Because that is the question a lot of people are quietly asking, and that question is whether Floyd Mayweather is still as rich as he says he is, or if the money is just enough of a facade to keep the house of cards standing. And Joe Rogan did not bite his tongue when he brought this up on his podcast, and he pointed at Floyd's spending habits, his $1 million watches, and his obsession with maintaining a billionaire persona, and straight up said it. And he said the money has to keep coming in, because the lifestyle is not slowing down, and that kind of living does not support itself unless the income is constant. And that is why you are seeing Floyd take these low-risk, high-money fights against nobodies, and it is not about competition, and it is about keeping the lights on.
1.8 million right here. The $20 bills section. We like to call this the Andrew Jackson section, but I like to call it wallpaper. 200,000 in 20s.
This is a man living paycheck to paycheck, and a man who had to ask the IRS for a delay on a $22 million tax bill after the Pacquiao fight, and a man who had to defend himself against federal charges for undisclosed crypto promotion, and a man who still has not fully paid Logan Paul for their exhibition, and all while still claiming he makes $20 to $30 million for every non-sanctioned sparring session against an influencer. And if that were true, why have those court issues not disappeared, and why is he always having to say how rich he is over and over and over again?
Green on him. Change it up. Change it up. Change it up. That's what we do. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's what we did. I need everybody, all the fighters all around the world, MMA, boxers, follow this man right here. We getting the job done. Money make, so y'all know the rest.
Because people who are truly secure in their wealth and legacy do not talk like that, and Floyd does not just want to be rich, and he wants to be seen as rich, unstoppably and untouchably rich. And the problem is that the more he chases that image, the more artificial it looks, and the value is not in the dollar amount anymore, and it is in how people perceive him, and more that perception is cracking, and the respect Floyd once commanded in the sport is slipping, not because he lost a fight, but because he is turning his name into a circus, and the real ones in the sport, guys like Tony, like Rogan, like even Canelo, now see through it, and they know the difference between building a brand and hiding behind it. And the Mayweather brand used to be about hard work and dedication, and now it is about selfies and private jets and auctioning off fantasy fights to the highest bidder, and of course building wealth, as he calls it.
Anything less. Can't be less than 10. Because then we're struggling for money.
I had to show Eddie some of the account. Eddie, hold on.
Imagine how much money Floyd Mayweather would have made if I was his promoter back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. Eddie is too. But when Eddie was,
too hungry fuckers for money.
And do not forget how that bleeds into his reputation, and every time he fights an influencer he cheapens the weight of his legacy, and every time he steps into a ring not for pride, competition, or greatness, but for clout and cash, he gives his critics more ammo. And when people like Tony say he would have gotten washed in the 90s, more people start nodding, and when Paul calls him out for ducking payment, more people listen, and when fans start Laughing at the idea of a Floyd versus Rio Ferdinand fight, the illusion starts to crack.
Why you not coming back to fight? Why you not coming back to fight? So I look at the fight game. I said, okay. I said, you know, fighters fighting, they make $3 million, $4 million, $6 million, $7 million. Some may make 10 or 20 million. But I'm doing exhibitions and I'm making 20, 25 million, 100 million for exhibitions. So why would I come back and fight?
Criticism is rooted in envy, and not every doubt is born of hate, and sometimes it is just the world trying to get through to you before it is too late. And Floyd Mayweather has always been a man of control, and he controls the tempo, the contracts, and the narratives, but lately that control is slipping, and when multiple influential voices start raising the same alarm, guys who do not usually agree on anything, you have to stop and consider maybe they are not just talking, and maybe they are trying to save him from himself. And Floyd wants the world to respect the hustle, and maybe he deserves that, and his rise was unprecedented and his discipline in the ring is unmatched.
Chilling in an EWV Rolls Royce. For those that don't know what an EWV is, that's an extended wheelbase Rolls Royce. I need the leg beam. I know I ain't that tall.
But there is a difference between hustle and hustle fatigue, and between ambition and obsession, and between living rich and living for the image of being rich. And well, how do you see all that is happening? And share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates. Alright everyone, stay tuned for the latest in boxing news, highlights, events, and stories. Subscribe to Ring Headquarters and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Be sure to watch our other videos too. Until next time, take care and stay safe.